Why Did I Become a Muslim by Daud Kim. So this is the video that we will be reacting to today, and here goes.
Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna muhammadan rasulullah. 안녕하세요, 제이킴입니다. 다우드 킴입니다. 다우드 킴.
So for those who have been following him before he become a Muslim, then you know that he used to the channel is used to be called J Kim, right? And he called himself, or his name is J Kim. Is it his name, or it's just his name that he used, right? But then he changed to Daud Kim, and his channel also now is Daud Kim. Yeah. So I have started to follow him before he became a Muslim. I have talked about it in my first reaction to his video. But anyway.
First of all, I got so many congratulations. 정말 감사합니다. I got a lot of questions, and 80% of questions were, why did you become a Muslim? Today, I want to answer this. My converting 이 아니고 reverting story. Okay.
Okay, so for Muslim, I think you understand why we refer to it as reverting and not converting, right? Because in Islam, the core belief is every human being was born as a baby, as pure in the submission state, right? We do not have any sin, we do not have any transgression, we do not go against the Creator yet, right? So everyone was born a Muslim in that case, right? Meaning any baby who die will basically be guaranteed a paradise, because he will go back without any sin whatsoever, pure state, right? Clean. So that's why when we grow up, and from Muslim perspective or from Islamic belief, that's where people start to either commit to the truth and act on it, or going astray and going in a deviant path, etc., right? So when we come back to the truth, we come back to the fitrah, we come back to our nature, then we are reverting to Islam, right? Not converting. So that's just terminology that we use because of our faith, and because of our belief.
Then here we go. How I became a Muslim, Daud Kim. Unfortunately, my first memory of Islam was 9/11. At that time, I was really young, like 8 years old.
So how many of you actually remember that day? Because when he said that, I suddenly remember that I was actually already in the university at that day, and suddenly all the kids, all the students are watching the internet and see the footage of that episode, and I was in shock, not knowing what's going on. I wasn't someone who actually actively read the news back then, but it was puzzling, because is this real? Is it like computer generated, etc., etc., because we watch many movies compared to actual news, right? So yeah, it causes some confusion, and I cannot imagine what it would be feeling like, or what will be in the mind of anyone who do not know much about Islam when they say that they saw that image
Of Islam was 9/11. At that time, I was really young, like 8 years old. I watched a huge building collapse on TV. I was really shocked, and that time I heard the word Islam on TV. So that was the first time I heard the word Islam. I don't know well, but I thought Islam is dangerous, because media always show the negative images about Islam: war, oppression, terrorism. So I also thought that they are dangerous and strict. A lot of time passed. Actually, I was a Catholic, but I didn't interest in any religion. I was just busy at living my life.
Actually, most people of any religious background, because most people have certain religion because of the family, not because they actually find what they want to believe in and actually believe in that, right? Most of us, Muslim included, are brought up in a certain way that we just follow the trend, and hence, just like he said, we are whatever religion, but do not really understand or commit to it for the most part.
But my bad thinking about Islam completely broke down one day in Indonesia. I debuted as a singer in Korea. I was not popular, but still. And luckily, I got a chance to have a promotion in Jakarta. I didn't know about
He looks really young there, and he's already promoting in Jakarta. That is interesting.
Islam that time. So I even didn't know that there were so many Muslim people in Indonesia.
And some people already somewhat become a fan back there.
I really didn't know that. Actually, two things made me so surprised. First, they were really kind than I expected. And second is that so many girls are covering their faces with veils. I didn't even know the word hijab. And you know, Indonesia is really hot country. So I was so curious. So I asked a girl who wear hijab, why are you wearing scarf on your face? Did someone force you?
That is actually a good thing to do, right? You actually ask what's happening, why are you doing this, and you can get the answer, right? And do not assume people do it because of certain things. And when you make assumption and that assumption is totally false, and then you believe or you build upon your belief and action based on that, that is very dangerous.
And he said, I'm a diamond, incredibly precious. So I don't want to show this to other people. Nobody forced me. This is my choice and I'm so proud of it. At the moment, I was really shocked. I thought that was oppression, but they were really proud of this. Yeah, it was really interesting. What made her so proud? At that time, I didn't know it was the face. I think Allah sent me a sign at this time, but I didn't notice. I came back to Korea, but my father lost his job suddenly, so I quit music and started work. I like my job, but it was not easy because I wanted to do more creative things. So that's why I started YouTube. And I randomly talked about the memories about Muslim in Indonesia, and suddenly so many people watched that video. And that was my second meeting with Islam.
So he actually, in that snippet of the video, he actually wore something to mimic what he saw in Indonesia. I'm guessing. I haven't seen that video, but from what he says, what he's telling here, some episode in our life actually leads us towards somewhere, which something that I will be talking about on after the video finish.
I didn't notice the first sign, but this time it was different. It's related to my situation. Okay, I'll tell you. I couldn't tell to anyone, but actually I was having a hard time because my goal of my life was music. But I should quit, so I lost my motivation of life. I wanted to go the next step, but I don't know how. I was totally lost. There was no peace in my mind. But surprisingly, at that time, it gave me a chance to meet Islam. Through this, I could meet many Muslims. They're real Muslims, not in the media. So I got along with them and found out what I didn't know about Islam. Why do they believe in Allah? Why do they pray? Why don't they eat pork? Why don't they drink? And what is halal and what is haram? And who is Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him? Many things. I learned one by one. And I found something really special I never felt before. It's very hard to explain, but I felt they have something that I'm missing because the way they treat their lives is definitely different from mine. I thought life is competition and only surviving the competition is success. I thought I have to fight and win, but they were different. They always help others and they were always thankful for what was given for them. This impressed me a lot, the attitude of their life. My Muslim friend told me life is a journey, not a competition. And the purpose of this journey is to go on the right path according to the God, Allah, the most glorified and the most high. If you follow Allah on the right path, there will be a great present at the end of this journey. Yeah, that's Jannah, the paradise. When I heard this, I felt like someone punched my face so hard. The belief that you're going to the right path, it touched and moved my heart.
So I have talked about this in some of my reaction video that it would be quite interesting if you ask normal Muslim person, right? When did something like that happen to them, right? When did they decide to become a Muslim, or they see that I should be on this path, right? Because many Muslims have never gone through that episode in their life, never actually have purposely and knowingly make the decision. Hence, the life is officially Muslim, but the action, etc. Yeah, so I think it is important to actually reflect on our life and make a good make a decision that will change our life, right?
In the beginning and the end of this everything, there was Allah. This was the something I was looking for. So to know about this, I started to follow their practice. I read the Quran, studied about Muhammad, peace be upon him. I fasted for a month in Ramadan. I went to mosque and prayed. It happened in just a few months. As I experienced their practice little by little, my faith also grew up. The faith in Allah, who created me and also guided me. The Absolute, the most gracious and most merciful. And these things never happened in one time. I found it little by little, and the important thing is I found it myself. Nobody forced me. As I fasted, I found gratitude for Allah, and I found that prayer to Allah would give me the peace of mind. So finally, I was sure about my belief. So I thought about becoming a Muslim, but nevertheless, I hesitated for a long time. There are reasons. Many people told me that the pork and alcohol, but I didn't think it's not very difficult if I have faith. There were other reasons. First, can I overcome the prejudice of others as a Muslim? And second, am I perfectly prepared to be a Muslim? And also a position for my family. For me, it was a big problem and pressure. I pressed myself a lot. But after that, I thought like this. Why am I pressing myself? Islam is a religion that creates a relationship between me and Allah, not others. If Allah made a plan for me, only Allah can give me the answer. So I visited the mosque and asked him, what do I have to do? And surprisingly, my thoughts organized. I got the conclusion. I have faith and will to practice. So I don't need to hesitate anymore. I don't need to care other people's opinion.
So that's the two things he mentioned, which is quite interesting. Do you have faith and do you have will to practice, right? So I think generally speaking, again, I always reflect on in terms of the general Muslim population, right? Can you answer that two questions?
Because my life is mine, not others. My relationship with Allah is only mine. They can take the responsibility about my life, even my mom and dad. But of course I love mom and dad. And one more thing about the perfect preparation. There's no perfect human. There's no perfect thing except Allah. But can't be a Muslim because I'm afraid of the mistakes I'll make in the future. I think this is excuse for myself. Of course I'll make a mistake because I'm not perfect. Already I had a lot of mistakes. But I believe He will lead me back in the right way. As He led me here, I'm in His plan. So I know He helps me. So that's why I decide and revert. That's my story. So now I'm Daud, and I'm so proud of that. I was sailing alone on a small boat over a dark and huge sea. I was sinking without knowing where to go. But the merciful Allah recognized and signaled me. And fortunately, I noticed and catched it. And finally, I knew that following Allah is the purpose of this journey. So now I know where do I have to go. He gave me the light. And I believe that it's the greatest blessings and gift in my life. So I'm like a baby Muslim who doesn't know anything well yet. But I will try to be a good Muslim, little by little. So nice to meet you, brothers and sisters. I'm so happy to meet you as a Muslim. I've talked a lot this word, but finally, I can tell you from my heart. Assalamu alaikum. There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is messenger of Allah.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. So that's his story, right? I have watched this before once. I think I have forgotten many of the things that he mentioned, but I have the gist of what he talked about, right? But the reason I go back here because this is the first time I actually react to the video that I actually watched before, right? Even though I have forgotten many of the things that he said, but I do remember about the Indonesia journey, etc. Right. Because many of the things that he mentioned is related to personal experience and how the interaction with others lead someone to a certain place, right? And why I searched back this video is because from the previous video that I reacted, the girl that shared her story of leaving Islam for Christianity. Of course, technically, from my perspective, is she's not leaving Islam. She left Shia to Christianity, right? Because she was from that basically practice, right? So if you watch that video, she told about how she is feeling back then, and then she sees how people not praising the God but praising the Imam and beating themselves, hurting themselves, etc. So she is in one place, and then when she met others who basically break her free or something, the Christians. So meaning that the interaction with people actually have an effect from making someone moving from one place to another place in his or her journey, right? And like brother Daud Kim here, his interaction in Indonesia actually shifted him a bit in terms of his perspective, and then his journey in YouTube actually shifted to another place, and then it goes on with his searching and practicing, etc., right? So my reflection, or the reflection that I hope we take from here, is that we have to realize that the interaction we have as a Muslim, if I'm talking to you as a Muslim, if you are not a Muslim, you are of some other faith, is interaction of us from a certain faith towards others, it can hugely affect someone, right? With our knowledge or without our knowledge, maybe we do not realize that we have affected someone greatly in a positive way or greatly in a negative way, right? And because this is a big reflection that I always ponder upon myself in the context of Malaysia. We have a lot of non-Muslim, but the perception towards Islam might be affected really much towards how the Muslim majority treats the others. And sometimes some Muslims do not treat the others in a way that a Muslim should, and then we shouldn't be surprised at their reaction towards Islam, because they thought that is Islam, the way these people behave, right? So that is something that we really need to look back at ourselves, look in the mirror, and reflect whether our action actually portray what it should, and how it impact others, right? Because I do strongly believe that in the end, the understanding of the religion itself, what the belief system, etc., and how can you prove, or how can you see that that is the truth and that is not, is crucially important, right? Because from this human, how to say, from his own experience here, from brother Daud Kim, alhamdulillah, he found Islam. But that lady before, the young girl before, and some others before, his or her experiences in so-called Islam, in his family, etc., led towards them feel in certain way that they want to escape, and then the interaction with others make them feel better, and hence they move there, right? So it can affect significantly one way or another, right? So that's where I think, even though I don't think it should be a definitive way to say just based on how you feel, meaning it is the truth, because the truth is not just by how you feel, because I feel, he feel, they feel, so sometimes we feel differently. So what is it relative? Because truth is the truth, right? It cannot be like, for me this is the truth and for you that is the truth. Of course we believe that way, but two opposite things cannot be the truth at the same time, right? So that is still important. But the journey that someone leads in their life normally is very much affected by the interaction that they have with other people of different faiths, for example, right? So if you are Muslim, as I'm a Muslim, please reflect on how we actually deal with others, and whether that have an impact on their own journey. Is it going to make them run away further or come closer to the truth, right? So that is the take home message, I think. And I do like the girl that explained why she chose hijab, right? Not sure whether he will ever see that girl again, for example, right? But what she gives, it sparks something, right? And I have seen many reverts that told a story where the conversation with certain Muslim trigger something that perhaps that Muslim don't even realize he or she have triggered something, right? I remember some girls that used to be in a certain religion where they cremated the those who have died, right? And then, to make the story short, some Muslim friends said that in Islam they just buried it and etc. And suddenly it sparks like, yeah, why didn't we? So it started the journey, right? So many instances like that I have heard of. So the take home message is, hopefully we interact with people so that the interaction can happen. Without that interaction, maybe this episode cannot even happen in the first place, right? That's number one. And number two, interact with the best way possible so that the experience will bring them closer to dig down deeper into finding the truth, inshallah. Wallahu alam. So that is just the reflection for this video, and the reason why I come back to this video, because I see the parallel between the two, right? The personal experiences lead someone to move from one place to another. In this case, alhamdulillah, he found Islam, and for the previous girl, she found Christianity. Hopefully her journey continues and she will find Islam also, inshallah. Wallahu alam. And if you are not Muslim yet, hopefully your journey will lead to Islam also, inshallah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and have a great journey.